ओके, लेट्स स्टार्ट। तो किशन, सबसे पहले आप मुझे अपने बारे में बताइए, आपका कौन सा अटेम्प्ट था? आपका मीडियम क्या था और आपने बेसिकली तैयारी कहाँ से की है, खुद से या कहीं से आपने हेल्प ली? यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल। आई थिंक यू आर ऑन म्यूट। यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल, सॉरी। प्लीज रिमूव द ब्लूटूथ एंड मे बी। या, नाउ ऑडिबल।
मैम मैम किशन कुमार गुप्ता मैम, from आजमगढ़ in उत्तर प्रदेश मैम। I did my engineering from NSIT in Delhi in 2020, and since then I've been preparing for UPSC. This was my fourth attempt, first mains and first interview. The, my optional is ma'am political science and international relations, and yes, for optional, I took coaching man because of my engineering background. I knew that I had to change the subject. I had to choose an optional where I have interest and I'm comfortable with. So I went with PSIR. So I took an optional coaching for that. The rest I did on my own.
तो लेट्स स्टार्ट द क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द स्टूडेंट। जो सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम आता है स्टूडेंट्स का कि क्या मीडियम का बहुत इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है, जैसे सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आता है हिंदी मीडियम के साथ कि हमारे साथ अच्छे कंटेंट नहीं है, तो क्या हमको तैयारी छोड़ देनी चाहिए?
आई वुड से तैयारी तो नहीं छोड़ देनी चाहिए, बट यस, एक बात तो है कि कंटेंट की बात जब करते हैं तो जो जैसे सब यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन के लिए एक सबसे बड़ा जो सोर्स मेरे हिसाब से लगता है वो है न्यूज़पेपर। तो जो न्यूज़पेपर है इंग्लिश में, जो न्यूज़पेपर है हिंदू, इंडियन एक्सप्रेस, बिजनेस टाइम्स, हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स, मिंट, मतलब नो डाउट कि क्वालिटी कंटेंट है, काफी एक्सपर्ट ओपिनियन होती है, काफी रिफाइंड कंटेंट होता है। There is too much to read into the newspaper, and if I mean I based on my experience I can say that if you're literally reading newspapers thoroughly, then it should take you at least 2.5 hours on those newspapers. They have called, and even I started reading newspapers since I was in class 7th and 8th, and I used to read Hindi newspaper. बट वही था कि क्वालिटी नहीं होती है, लोकल न्यूज ज्यादा होती है, कोई ऐसा नेशनल लेवल का न्यूज़पेपर नहीं है। तो आई एग्री विद देम कि हाँ, क्वालिटी कंटेंट की थोड़ी कमी है, क्योंकि आप इंग्लिश की न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ के आपको काफी आइडिया लग जाता है। यू हैव अ ब्रॉड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ एवरीथिंग दैट इज गोइंग ऑन, बी इट अ नेशनल इशू और इंटरनेशनल इशू और इट्स एन इकोनॉमिक इशू। and newspapers like Hindu and Indian Express covers the science and technology part and the defense aspect very thoroughly, they cover it. तो जो परसेप्शन अबाउट मीडियम इज नॉट रॉन्ग, बट अभी तो इतना ऑनलाइन कंटेंट प्रोवाइड करते हैं कोचिंग वाले भी इन बोथ मीडियम। they are doing that work every day, current affair they are updating on their website. And one thing I can assume that those who are preparing for UPSC at this age, I think a lot, most of them must have smartphones or at least tablet or laptop, so that I would say कि वो प्रॉब्लम अब नहीं होनी चाहिए। और आपके लिए ये अच्छा है कि कंटेंट कंप्रेस करके अगर कोई दे दे रहा है, व्हाट इज नीडेड इज कंसिस्टेंसी। मतलब मेरे हिसाब से हर कोचिंग ऑलमोस्ट 2 days करंट अफेयर करके उनके वेबसाइट पे या उनके साइट पे टैब होगा। ऑल यू नीड इज टू गो देयर एंड जस्ट गो थ्रू इट थॉरोली। और अच्छी बात यह है कि they will tell you everything that is important for the exam. So maybe जैसे रेगुलर न्यूज पढ़ते हुए अगर आप थोड़ा पॉलिटिक्स में इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं तो यू मे गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड। आप थोड़ा बहुत इधर की चीजें भी पढ़ लोगे तो ज्यादा टाइम हो, क्या पता कुछ न्यू कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन इंपॉर्टेंट हो आप मिस कर जाए। बट कोचिंग वाले तो आपको सब कुछ प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, इट्स फ्रीली अवेलेबल। तो अब तो वो चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए। बाकी ये सक्सेस रेट और सिलेक्शन रेट की वजह से जो परसेप्शन है वो, उसके लिए तो मैं कुछ नहीं बोल पाऊंगा, क्योंकि वो है, उसमें तो क्या कर सकते हैं।
एक और प्रॉब्लम आती है, जैसे खासतौर से जो बच्चे बिल्कुल बिगिनर्स होते हैं, और अभी एक 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 चीजें चल रही है कि हम 12th पास करते हैं, तैयारी करना शुरू कर देते हैं। तो 12th पास करने के बाद तैयारी करना कितना सही मानते हैं आप, पहले तो? और दूसरा कि जो है एनसीईआरटी पढ़ने की वो अप्रोच होनी चाहिए, उसमें किस किस माइन्यूट चीजें जिनको हमको एक लिस्ट आउट करके रखना चाहिए, दैट व्हाइल वी आर रीडिंग एनसीईआरटी वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन दी सर्टेन एरियाज।
मैम, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन की प्रिपरेशन कब स्टार्ट करनी चाहिए, तो आई वुड से कि यूपीएससी का मतलब सब जो ड्रीम है, स्पेशली हम जिस एरिया से आते हैं यूपी या फिर उधर का, तो ये शुरू से आ जाता है। 11th 12th तक काफी दिमाग में बैठ जाता है कि यूपीएससी करनी है। तो टाइम टेकिंग प्रोसेस है, मतलब मेरे हिसाब से एटलीस्ट 1.5 साल, 18 months इज व्हाट यू नीड टू गिव इट टू द सिलेबस। GS 1 2 3 4, the optional essay, so 18 months preparation are needed. So अगर किसी ने मन बना लिया कि उसे यूपीएससी करनी ही है, तो आई थिंक इट्स नॉट अ रॉन्ग डिसीजन इफ यू स्टार्ट अर्ली। और अगर मतलब अगर आप ग्रेजुएशन में जा रहे हैं एंड यू आर डूइंग विद हिस्ट्री और पीएसआईआर और इकोनॉमिक्स के साथ आप ह्यूमैनिटीज कर रहे हो, और आपके लिए तो बहुत अच्छा ऑप्शन है कि आप आपका, क्योंकि जो ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं उसमें जो ह्यूमैनिटीज के हैं उसमें बैचलर और मास्टर्स से ही क्वेश्चंस आते हैं। सो आपको पूरा 3 साल मिल रहा है कि आप 3 साल स्लोली स्लोली आप एक अच्छा बैकग्राउंड डेवलप कर सको ऑप्शनल में। एंड इट्स 500 मार्क्स, मतलब इस बार आप देखेंगे तो बहुत लोगों के रैंक ऑप्शनल की वजह से बनी है, बहुत लोगों की बिगड़ी भी है। सो ऑप्शनल हैज ह्यूज रोल टू प्ले, 500 मार्क्स इज ए ह्यूज। तो अगर आप अर्ली स्टार्ट कर रहे हो तो बहुत अच्छी बात है। एंड द गुड थिंग इज कि ग्रेजुएशन के साथ अगर आप कर रहे हो कॉलेज के पहले या दूसरे साल से, तो आपको पता है कि अभी कॉलेज खत्म होने तक आपको अटेम्प्ट नहीं देना। सो यू डोंट हैव टेंशन, स्ट्रेस नहीं है। यू कैन गो वेरी स्लोली स्टेडली, यू कैन गो ब्रॉडली और डेप्थ में कवर कर सकते हो नो। रन वॉच नहीं आपको रन कर रही कि इतना मुझे इस दिन में खत्म करना है। आपने कोई टॉपिक पढ़ा, यू रीड इट फ्रॉम बुक, यू रीड फ्रॉम सोर्सेज, आपने अच्छे से नोट प्रिपेयर किया है, सो दैट व्हेन यू आर कंप्लीट विद योर ग्रेजुएशन, सो आपका ऑप्शनल रेडी होगा। आपका जीएस में अगर आपको लगता है देन यू कैन पैरेलली रन अ कोचिंग, और आज तो मतलब हेल्प ले सकते हो, या ऑनलाइन कंटेंट फ्रीली इतना अवेलेबल है कि सो दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम। मैं अप्रिशिएट करूंगा बिकॉज कॉलेज खत्म होने के बाद इफ यू आर गिविंग अ 3 4 years देन स्टार्ट्स टू फील वेरी मच, बिकॉज देन ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट होने की जो तलवार लटकती रहती है। सो it's better when you go after graduation you have everything prepared with you, the material, everything, so that you give first attempt. If doesn't go well, then certainly you will do it in 2 or 3, not more than that. और दैट्स अ गुड स्टार्ट आई वुड से। बट हाँ, गाइडेड प्रिपरेशन होनी चाहिए, इट शुड नॉट बी अनगाइडेड कि जंप कर रहे हैं, ऑप्शनल चेंज कर रहे हैं हर साल, कुछ नया मोटिवेशन मिला फिर चेंज कर दिए ऑप्शनल। आई वुड से कि अगर जिस सब्जेक्ट के साथ, अब मेरे लिए था कि मुझे श्योर था कि इंजीनियरिंग वाले सब्जेक्ट से अब नहीं करना, और मेरा इंजीनियरिंग भी ईसीई था। तो ईसीई एज ऑप्शनल नहीं है, इलेक्ट्रिकल है, तो काफी सिलेबस चेंज था, तो मेरे लिए मुश्किल था, मेरा ऑप्शन नहीं था, मुझे चेंज करना ही था। बट अगर आप किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के साथ ऑप्शनल पिक कर रहे हो, तो यू गेट 3 years टू प्रिपेयर फॉर इट एंड यू कैन प्रिपेयर इट वेरी वेल। मतलब 500 मार्क्स आपके सिक्योर्ड हो जाएंगे, तो दैट इज अ गुड थिंग आई वुड से।
एनसीईआरटी के लिए आप क्या कहेंगे, किशन?
एनसीईआरटी इज, मतलब आई वुड से इट रिमेन्स द फाउंडेशन स्पेशली फॉर हिस्ट्री एंड ज्योग्राफी। And history, when I say, then it includes the art and culture as well, and certain aspects of society, but society को थोड़ा अलग से देखेंगे। but history के लिए I would say history and geography NCERT is must। first read NCERT thoroughly, मतलब इससे अच्छी बुक नहीं हो सकती मेरे हिसाब से हिस्ट्री के लिए। एंशियंट मिडवेल मॉडर्न इंडिया के लिए थोड़ी एक्सटेंसिव स्टडी चाहिए, तो यू कैन गो फॉर बुक्स लाइक स्पेक्ट्रम एंड अदर्स, क्योंकि वो काफी डिटेल और डेप्थ में पता होना चाहिए। तो उसके लिए आप एडिशनल रीडिंग करनी ही पड़ेगी, वो आई से इट। बट when it comes to ancient India and medieval India history, there is no limit, means there is vast knowledge and बहुत सारे sources, आप हर जगह नहीं भाग सकते। but if you read NCERT thoroughly, one thing I can assure you, the basics आपके बहुत अच्छे से clear होंगे, and then you can apply it to solve questions well। वरना हिस्ट्री इतना, इतनी बुक लिखी गई है, कहीं से क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा देन यू विल से कि मुझे नहीं आता, ऐसा सब हर कोई सारी किताब नहीं पढ़ता है। एनसीईआरटी है से और एनसीईआरटी आई हैव द एंशिएंट इंडिया जैसे मेरे पास है अभी, ये इतनी स्ट्रक्चर्ड लिखी हुई है, एवरीथिंग, हर रूल हर पीरियड में, सोसाइटी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, द कल्चर, द इकोनॉमी, हेडिंग वाइज सब कुछ लिखा हुआ है। सो आई वुड से कि मतलब एनसीईआरटी रीड करने का पहला तरीका, फर्स्ट रीडिंग, गो थ्रू इट लाइन बाय लाइन थॉरली, highlight few things in it. Second reading, when you do, I would say start making notes from it. I did it, means I have, I'll see, just like uh, such as this is, second, like this one I made about from NCRT. This is about Gupta Empire. So one thing I have observed that from these ancient and medieval India, generally questions come from society, economy, the religious practices that are there, and then NCRTs have heading wise. You don't have to put effort. So I put a Gupta Empire on administration. I made a note on it. Then trade and agrarian economy. I made note. Points just from the NCRTs, and it's authoritative book, no one would question it. Then there is the social development, there is religious features, and then we call Guptas as the what we say the golden period because of art and literature. So in just one and a half page, because these pages are small, on A4 sheet it will be maximum 2 pages. So you have a note, you know that now anything they can ask from Gupta period is in 1 year, they can ask about the administration, a 10 marker. You have 7 8 points. Then they cannot ask about the religious freedom. Most likely question is they can ask about this art and literature. So you have covered everything. All you have to do is to go through it and revise it. Questions can be framed in different words. They can ask comparison between Guptas and Mauryas, or Guptas or medieval India in terms of art and literature and architecture. But content it fixed, is not changing. So for that, I would say NCRTs are best, and read it as many times as you can. I think I have spent a lot of years, 4 years, it's more than that, and I have, think I must have went through at least 5 6 times. So, and I still go through them. Every time I have to revise, I first go through NCRTs, then I revise my notes, and then if I can find some additional content and I have time, then I'll look into it. Otherwise, I'm happy with them. It may not give you all the marks, you may not be able to solve all the question, no one is able to do that, but it will give you basics and it will give you confidence. And same applies with geography. Geography has NCRT is one of the best books. A bit complex, especially the 11th and 12th geography, physical and all. But if you start reading from 9th, 10th, your basics will be good and it is very comprehensively covered. And I think you can answer questions either from this prelims or in mains. You can answer questions from geography. Value addition is always encouraged. If someone is putting effort, he will be rewarded. No one is stopping you from learning. If you are into it, it's all about learning. Learn as much as you can, but basics can't be avoided. And NCRTs, I would say, and this not in except geography means geography can be read from, but when it comes to ancient and medieval India, I would suggest read book, make notes from it. It will take time, but once it's done, it looks very good, and you will feel confidence in the subject, and it helps in art and culture as well.
मूविंग टू PSIR, अभी बहुत सारे बच्चे PSIR ऑप्शन इस बार बहुत सारे बच्चों ने लेके क्लियर भी किया, एंड दिस इज अ गुड चॉइस अमंग द एस्पायरेंट्स, द PSIR। तो सबसे पहले PSIR के बारे में कहा जाता है दिस इज वेरी लेंदी सब्जेक्ट, इट विल टेक अराउंड 6 to 7 months टू कंप्लीट। सो व्हाट शुड बी द आइडियल अप्रोच टू फॉलो PSIR? जैसे वेस्टर्न पॉलिटिकल थॉट की बात करें या इंडियन पॉलिटिकल थॉट या थियरी वाला जो पोर्शन है, व्हाट शुड बी द अप्रोच टू फॉलो, and how to memorize the thinkers, the books and the quotes, everything for the optional point of view?
First, yes, PSIR. One thing is about this syllabus. One thing I have realized that all optionals are lengthy. The fact
Mhm.
is, the optional we take, we feel like it's the lengthiest one. If we ask the maths optional, that is too lengthy to, means it's very vast. physics, chemistry, every option is lengthy, and I have met people, I meet people. So I think one that misconception should be avoided, because some optional start performing good in last few years, like sociology and anthro. So people thought that these are easy optionals. And that is not the case. The person who is putting effort, ask him how much effort he has put. Will he will tell you. No one tells the whole story. So that is a, I would say that's a misconception. It may be easy, it may be tough, because of the subject's own terminologies, own subject's demand. Coming to PSIR, for me, IR is a very interesting thing. I take interest in IR. I follow developments on my own, watching newspaper, reading newspaper, watching podcasts, interviews. So that was encouraged me to go for PSIR. And as I mentioned earlier, because my background was engineering, so I had to take coaching. And it took, as you, ma'am, you rightly said, it took me 8 months to finish entire PSIR through lectures. The first and the foremost thing, have your own notes. Just seeing your notes well written, structured as per the syllabus of the UPSC, it gives you a confidence that every time you need to revise optional, you don't look running for online content, toppers, notes, and all. You always go to your own notes. And as now to the about approach, so PSIR has, both papers have two part as per UPSC's own syllabus. Paper one, part A, is completely static. Part B is Indian polity, which is very dynamic, and mostly questions on current affairs are asked. Paper 2, part A, is again international relations theory. It is again very static, but their current examples matters a lot. And when it comes to paper 2, part B, which is India and its foreign policy and its relation, again it's completely dynamic. So there are both two approaches to it. First, as I mentioned earlier, about having notes and revising it as many times as you can, because it's a questions are asked of the levels of master's level. I mean, you have to have command over or optional subject, and UPSC demands that, and that's why those are reflected in the marks very much. There, it's not general study; it's optional, and you have to have command over. So, have notes and then revise completely. And about, you asked about remembering the scholars and books and all, they matter, no doubt. If someone has written it and highlighted it, it will bring the focus of the examiner. But all that matter is whether you're understanding the subject or not. Where Aristotle talks about equality, inequality, his idea has a negative connotation than what we see in our constitution. So you should have that clear understanding, that difference between the two. So similarly, understanding Western political thinkers, their ideas. So that understanding must be developed, because question can be asked from anywhere. Naval questions, quotations, any scholar's quote will come. You will certainly may not have seen it, but if you have a core understanding of his philosophy, in what sense he's talking about, then you can certainly decode the question and answer it. You cannot learn all the statements, all the quotations. You must know Marx was against capitalism, he was a materialist. He was against religion, he was against state, he talks about. So if you have basic understanding of all these, so if a statement of Marx come about state, he may have said 10 statements, you may have read 5. But if you know his philosophy, his idea, you can decipher any. And that is what is needed in optional, any optional. And I'm especially talking about PSIR. So that note should be there, and thoroughly read it as many times as you can. You cannot remember it. I mean, let me say it, but my own notes are running in 1500 pages almost, PSIR notes. So no one is expecting me to remember that, but I have went through them 7 8 times at least. It's been quite long time. So that is my way of reading it. Someone may have better strategy, and be open to good strategies. Do not stick to someone. Everyone has some strength, everyone has some weakness. It's about you adapting to your strength and weakness. Second is, make short notes out of it. So when you are in these times, you can thoroughly go through your notes. But if it's like my mains is pending in August, I will be giving mains, so I can read my complete notes only once. After that, every time I have to revise, I will have to go through my short notes. I can't be running through 1500 pages all the time. So you should have your short notes, and short notes should be at least one fifth, one sixth of it. It will take that much. Don't make it short like GS. People talk about one pagers. I don't think in optional you can have one pager. It should be one fifth or one sixth of it, and then go through them again and again. Then keep just keywords. Once you have read them thoroughly, like someone's statement. If like Marx said that philosophers have only interpreted the world, what is needed is to change it. So in your main notes, you will have this full statement, but in your short notes, you just like one keyword and you will immediately recall the whole statement. That is how you should make the short notes, and that approach should be there. And about quoting philosophers and scholars, that is appreciated, but not that. I've heard people a lot of with those good marks, they have said that UPSC is now changing that thing कि ज्यादा scholars quote करने ज्यादा number नहीं आएंगे. Now it's about reflecting what you think of a question, what you interpret, and for that you just give them arguments. If you know someone who had said similar thing, back it up by quoting him. If you not, it's okay. It won't hamper your marks that much, but remove that rote learning thing. Interpret questions on your own understanding, write your own arguments, and this very much applies in paper 1 part B, the dynamic part, when questions on federalism, secularism, India's social caste structure, politics, those are asked. At this stage, we can have fair understanding of what is going in Indian politics and all. So give your an argument. It should be neutral. Yes, your political leaning should not be reflected into it, but whatever you interpret of it, you can write your own words. You don't need to quote all the scholars that you came across. It's okay. And similarly, in paper 2, part B, foreign policy questions, there also you need to give your own arguments. If India has a specific policy towards Maldives or Bangladesh, what you think of, and what are the short term goals of India, what should be the long term goals, and that should be the way. And I would say in paper 2 part B, foreign policy questions, quoting the our leaders is better way, be it the honorable prime minister or the honorable external affairs minister, is good to go. And yes, the most important thing that I heard from others, I couldn't replicate it my in my own answers. Hopefully you try to do this here. Try to link the dynamic parts with the theory. If you are answering paper 2 part B on foreign policy and you are talking about US China, then mention Thucydides trap or Kindle budget trap. So these are theory, but you are understanding, you are correctly explaining that US and China may go for war. There is a rollback of US from its global leadership, but there is a fear that China may not. So you explained this much, but this is exactly what is called Kindle budget trap. So this is understanding of even a common man, but what makes you a PSR student is to mention that this is a Kindle budget trap. So try to link it, otherwise you will end up getting average marks. I mean, you will do your answer will be good, you may have interpreted correctly, but back it up with theory. No need to scholar. If no scholar is not there, current scholar is not there, it's okay. But link it with theory. Everywhere where you can talk about, link it with theory. If we means you talk about that EU is a cohesive unit, and so we can talk about democratic peace theory. That is again a theory part. So that is linking is very much important, and it will put you apart, different from others. You just start linking it. No need for scholars. But if you have studied the theory, which is certainly you will, then link with it. That is one way. And current affairs, I would say, is first and foremost, the most important thing is newspapers. And spend 2 hours. If you are reading newspaper, good newspaper, spend 2 hours. It will be worth it. I must say, because current affair we go for magazines and all, and after 4 attempts, I have realized that doesn't matter how many magazines you read, UPSC questions will always be a surprise. So what will help you is your static knowledge, your basic understanding, and the if you have read newspapers, things they get each day on your mind. When if I talk about mains, if you are reading newspapers very well and there's a development that is going on in international relations or Indian national issues, you are reading it every day. It get eased into your mind. You won't realize, but when the question come in the paper, now it will immediately come into your mind. So that is, but I would say go through newspapers, don't miss it. And if time is left, then you can do value addition with this additional content which is available free anyway these days. There is too much free content on the net.
सबसे लास्ट जो स्टेप है दैट इज द पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट एंड यूजुअली द स्टूडेंट्स हैव टू मच कंफ्यूजन अबाउट द पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट जैसे सम स्टूडेंट्स हैव विजिटेड मी एंड द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द स्टूडेंट इज दैट ही स्टैमर तो जैसे स्टैमरिंग का या इन सब चीजों का क्या पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट में कोई इम्पैक्ट होता है किशन एंड दूसरा पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट बेसिकली क्या देखना चाहता है यूपीएससी और आपका कैसा रहा
Ma'am, I must admit it, my personality test saved me. I scored 190, which is a fairly decent score. I mean, if I would have been less than 10, 180 would have been decent score, but I wouldn't have made it to the list. So yes, accepted. PT helped me. So personality test as itself says that it's not UPSC doesn't call it interview. They call it personality test. So it's about who you are, not what is filled in your mind and all that. It's totally random. Means they asked me about बच्चों का आधार कार्ड कैसे बनता है, बच्चों के आधार कार्ड को क्या बोलते हैं, अगर आपको एलॉन मस्क स्पेस भेजे तो कैसे तैयारी करोगे. नो वन कैन प्रिपेयर फॉर दीज सॉर्ट्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन. आप ईवीएम कैसे हैक करोगे. so so these were the sort of questions they asked to me in the personal test. So that is completely unpredictable, but I'm not saying you completely give up. You keep trying on your own. National issues, current affairs will be discussed, because one thing, remember that you are preparing for interview, not the interviewers. They will read morning newspaper, they will come to the UPSC, they will sit in interview, and they will remember, अच्छा सुबह तो ये पढ़ा था, पूछ लेते हैं. So they are not preparing for interview. Either they will ask something from def or whatever that come into their mind. That is completely okay, because personality is how you react when things you are not prepared for came in front of you, and that is what happened. So I this and I my interviews was quite late. It was in the third month, in the late March. So I had a lot of time reading newspaper every day, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So do that, read newspaper, go through, and in mains you go through only what is in the syllabus. You avoid the controversial news, you avoid the front page headlines, you read editorials, you read the explain section. But interview, you have to go through those headlines only. Well, editorials become not that important, because those are more of intellectual opinion about something, and for that it's okay if you leave editorials in those days. Otherwise, the headline, the front page becomes very important. The developments become important. Even if there is some nuisance, there is a law and order situation anywhere in the country, there is some economic upheaval going on. So those things which you considered as controversial and avoidable in mains and prelims, you should just go through them. You should have knowing that what is going on in your country and what is going on in international affairs. So that current affair is important, newspaper is important, and if you have written mains, then your basic understanding is there. Be ready for it. Means, let's say if you are not able to answer current affairs questions, or you are not able to answer from DAF, then anything they can ask. They may go through your static part, ask about PESA, or will ask about RTI Act. They can ask some provisions of it. So it's up to us how we want to shape our interview. They give us chance to it. Now about stammering and confidence and all. So yes, it's a different setting. Sitting in front of five people, all with experience, maybe more than 25 years. It's a good feeling, and it's very much natural for you to get uncomfortable. When I was very not so good with interviews, so one thing which really helped me was practicing in front of mirror. I for all in those 3 months from mains result till interview, for at least 40-45 days or 50 days, I used to practice in front of mirror. I used to read newspaper. I used to pick three important news, one of international importance, one of national issue, and one economic issue. and a good newspaper you will find. And I would read through that. I read entire paper. Then in front of mirror, I used to choose that one international topic. Whatever I read, I used to dictate myself. I used to see my facial expression. I used to see my speed, and then try to dictate in my own words, and then try to think two three questions I have to ask myself, that if someone is dictating this to me, what questions can I ask to them, counter question. And the thing is, if you have read, you have prepared for UPSC, and you have studied well, then certainly some questions will come and you have basics for it. So I try to answer them, then I move to next topic, and then so 30 minutes I used to talk to myself like this. I observed that I didn't have expression. I didn't smile much. I was very, tense. So that those thing doesn't go down well. So those also, no one can tell you better than you yourself. Is seeing yourself in mirror and talking to yourself for half an hour is the best way to gain confidence also, because you're seeing yourself every day and you are in the interview, you can be proud of yourself. So that gives you confidence, that improves your language. You will see that your speed is good bad, you can also monitor that also. And then on certain days, I used to just have a very frank conversation, 10-15 minutes, about anything, about myself, about my journey, about family, friends. These things you should also expect. They're not just going to ask you about syllabus and all. They can ask anything. They ask me about my friendship also, what it means to you. Do you have any friends who spoils all your plans, who is exactly opposite to it, opposite to you? And all these questions can also. So know yourself well, your strength, your weaknesses. So uh, the 30-minute exercise every day, I can say with some certainty, because I did myself, that it will help you in improving. And no other, no mock, no group discussion will give you the level of confidence that talking to yourself will give you. You will realize your weaknesses, you will start believing in yourself. So I think that that is the way forward about stammering and all. Because speaking also means start getting new ideas on your own. When you read newspaper, say you are already reciting what you read, but when you talk to yourself, you may be very slow in framing the sentence, but you are giving yourself new ideas. That is also very much appreciated in interviews. And this is what they appreciate, the confidence which you have. You answer it well, you have a smile on your face, you accept that you do not know, and you will read about it. That's enough. No one can know everything. Five people each with experience over 25 years, you can not outmaneuver them. So that I would say is.
थैंक यू सो मच किशन, आपने बहुत टाइम भी दिया और बहुत अच्छे से चीजें एक्सप्लेन की। आई होप कि दिस विल बेनिफिट द स्टूडेंट एट लास्ट, एंड ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट टू यू कि आप भी जल्दी से जल्दी जो भी आपका गोल है उसको अचीव करें, और जब आप प्रशासन में जाएं और जब देश की सेवा में जाएं तो फिर देश में भी आप वैसे ही देश का जो झंडा है वो और ऊपर लेके जाएं। थैंक यू सो मच किशन, हैव अ नाइस डे।
Thank you. Thank you.